Welcome, low ego action heroes. This is Debbie Levitt from Delta CX, and I've put the wrong title on the show. I am so sorry. I know you got notified that it's Is UX Research Right for Me? That was 2 days ago. I am so sorry. I'm going to try to fix this quickly, but I have messed it up. It is actually our usual Friday stream. Every Friday we do Practicing Critical Thinking, and I forgot to update the title. Let's write that down. 2 September 2022, Practicing Critical. I'm going to probably spell it wrong now because I'm all flustered and I'm going too fast. All right. So, thank you to everybody who has donated to the channel, which is these people and more. And they have clicked join on the YouTube channel to donate a little money per month. And I spend that on streaming software and chocolate chips. Had lots of chocolate chips today, thanks to all of you. So practicing critical thinking, when we do this, I am reviewing things that you have sent in. If you would like to send in one for next week, just go to deltacx.com/links and find Practicing Critical Thinking. Also note that we have a totally free Slack and Discord community. Join one, join both. My voice is a little shot today because I've been speaking at a conference. So please excuse me, but we've got 5 things to go through, and I think we can get through them pretty quickly. So let's do a short but sweet adventure. Oh, let me also turn off the overlay of the comments. And let's see. Press this button. No? Yes? No, wrong screen. Please hold. Me and screen 1. Then what's screen 1? No, that's not screen 1. Okay, please hold. Technical difficulties. And I've got a bug flying around me. This is not going well. I've got the wrong title. I've got a bug flying around me. Not happening. Let's try this. All right. I think we're getting there. Let's see. So this should be one woman show, y'all. All right. I think we're finally there. And it looks like this. Yes, except we're going to flip over to my browser. All right, I think that's good. Thank you for your patience. Oh, am I not on the screen? You've got a bug in the production. Yeah, I think I'm not on the screen, but who cares? You all know what I look like. All right, let's go through these. Yeah, I didn't check this. I don't even know when I changed it. All right. So the first thing people sent was this tweet from Laura Klein from, gosh, 3 years ago. And it looked like she was doing a bit of a tweeting adventure. And the one that I was sent was, nobody is a designer. Only one person has ever reached the state of mental clarity and perfection required to be a designer, and they immediately ascended to a different astral plane, or else they spontaneously combusted. You'll never know because you are not a designer. And I had to see, like, what is the context here? Excuse me. And it turns out that the context was a bunch of design wackiness. Design Twitter has questions they can't answer. I'm here to help. Yes, designers should be able to code and tango, change a tire, produce a creditable Black Forest roulade, summon a demon. So obviously this whole tweet storm is meant to be fun and silly and poke fun at things. So I'm not too sure what you want me to react to. All interviews must feature a design exercise. Jazzercise. This is just silliness, and that's fine by me. So I'm not too sure what you want me to comment on. Next, somebody sent me this guy. I'm not sure why you're sending me this guy. I don't think I've ever agreed with anything that he said. And last I checked, UX isn't his specialty, so I'm not too sure why we're listening to him. Especially on a tweet with 14 retweets and 99 likes. It's not exactly heating up the web here. But he says there hasn't been any innovation in how mobile apps are designed in years now. Now, as always, I always warn people, I like to joke, I always warn people against universals. All, everyone, always, never, none, nobody. So there's no innovation, period. Nothing out there has done anything innovative, different, interesting, groundbreaking, disruptive. Nobody's done it. In how many years? We don't know. Just some sort of unknown number of years. So, that is a blanket statement designed for you to take it as fact. And critical thinking requires us to take a look at that statement and start by saying, is this even true? This is what he's using to set up what he wants to say, but is it even true? So there hasn't been any innovation in how mobile apps are designed in years now. I don't think I agree. It depends what he means by innovation. Have mobile apps completely changed and we don't even recognize them anymore because some great innovation happened? Okay, maybe not, but they're certainly evolving. So again, and also, what's his point? I don't even know. We're just reusing the same patterns over and over, but we call it UX because users are used to them. Okay, so there's about 6 different things going on in this sentence, and with critical thinking, you need to start breaking all the ideas apart and take a look at them individually. We're just reusing the same patterns over and over. That's going to be true to some extent because some patterns are best practices. A drop menu looks like a drop menu. A hamburger menu looks like a hamburger menu. It wouldn't make sense for us to try to reinvent these things that are known and comfortable and in many cases patterns with good usability. So are we reusing the same patterns over and over? Sure, but that doesn't mean that we're not creating great experiences and evolving what we're doing. I'm not too sure what his point is. And we call it UX because users are used to them. Okay, so there's a few more pieces to this sentence. We call it UX and call it UX. So no, we don't. I don't call reusing the same patterns over and over UX. So I'm not too sure why he's acting like, yep, this is something we all do. We just reuse the same patterns over and over. We call it UX. Again, some patterns have to be reused over and over. A drop menu is a drop menu. Radio buttons are radio buttons. Segmented controllers are segmented controllers. If we make them too different, they might lose some of their usability. That's not what I call UX. If he's calling that UX, well, then he should say that. But this isn't UX, so I don't think we should call it UX. UX is so much more than what pattern did you use in a mobile app. So again, there you go. Users are used to them. Again, in some ways, we are using patterns that users are used to, and we do that for consistency and continuity. But in other cases, we use patterns because they work well. The drop list has been around since the 80s, and it hasn't really been disrupted or innovated on because as a drop list, it just kind of works. I don't need some other kind of drop list. So it's not just that users are used to them. That's a factor, but it's not the only factor why patterns get used. So as usual, with critical thinking, a lot of this falls apart or just doesn't seem to stand up. And then as usual, my question is going to be, how is this meaningful, actionable, or helpful? What's the point? Am I supposed to walk away from this going, wow, he's a deep thought leader? Because that's definitely not what I'm thinking. Am I thinking I have to hire this guy? I don't know. There's no real call to action here, and I don't really know what I'm supposed to do after hearing or reading this. Am I supposed to redefine radio buttons? Am I supposed to redefine drop lists? Am I supposed to redefine existing patterns that might be working well? So what am I supposed to do about this? And then this guy says, time for a breakthrough. I'm sure he doesn't know what to do either. And then he says, we'll have a breakthrough and there's a global blackout and the phones won't work. What does that even mean? So mobile apps will be better when our phones don't work? This makes no sense. I really don't know why any of y'all are following this guy or reading this guy because his stuff just doesn't stand up. I don't get it. I just don't. Okay, Here's a guy named Nicholas who I'm not familiar with, and he says, tip for newer UX designers. One of the biggest frustrations about starting out in this field is that you're able to look at an app, a web page, a tool, whatever, and you can identify when something is well designed, but you can't quite recreate it or articulate fully why it's well designed. I struggled with this. Okay, so of course he's talking about himself, but then he's saying maybe other people feel this way too, and I think it's quite possible that other people feel this way too, so I don't feel like I want to disagree with his setup or his opening statement. I think it probably seems true or possible. And then he says, my recommendation, I'm calling it atom smashing design. And he doesn't understand copyrights because you don't need to have a pending copyright. A copyright is yours as soon as you declare it, and it's just a matter of whether or not you want to register it with the government, but technically it is his copyright already, not pending. Only patents are pending. He says, if you're unfamiliar with atomic design, Google it. But basically, you start from the smallest bits, atoms, build it up into a molecule, then an organism, to templates, to pages. It makes more sense if you see a visual. So what I would do, and what I did a lot to practice, is go in reverse. Find an app or a web page you love, and one you know is well designed, and go backwards in atomic design from the page until you get down to the atoms of why each small piece of that app or web page works so well, hence atom smashing. By the end, you'll have a much firmer grasp on why the things that are working do work. I think that this is flawed. Is anybody watching live? Anybody have an opinion on this? Anybody see flaws or problems with this or strangeness? Because the one thing that jumps out at me is, I've said many times on this channel that I think one of the worst things about UX education is how many programs and courses and trainers and people expect you to reverse engineer things. They expect you to see a finished web page and know how that was designed. How did we create this good UX or bad UX? And I don't think that that can be revealed through forward or backward atomic design. Because ultimately, if you break a page down to its atoms, you'll get what I was just talking about. Drop lists, radio buttons, things like that. Ruth Ann says, breaking it down is great, but it still doesn't tell you what makes it great. Yeah, that's the way I'm feeling too. Ralitza says, the fact that you don't like something doesn't mean it's, the fact that you do like something doesn't mean it's good. Also, reverse engineering without insight into decisions is really hard to do. Yes, totally agree. That's exactly where I'm going. You're both right, and I'm sure some other comments will be right on as well. Yeah. We don't know what this person went through for design. We don't know what research insights they had that informed their design. We don't know what stakeholder pressure they had that informed the design. There's so many things that happened that we can't possibly reverse engineer. And those of us who understand UX know that the skills and the work that go into UX go way beyond, did you put a radio button here, and did you put a drop list here, and did you put a segmented controller here? You can break the page down into atoms, but you might not really understand how bringing them together made something good. And you'll know that you don't understand it because if you gave yourself a completely blank challenge that was very different from the example that you're looking at, can you make something great out of it? Just because you broke stuff down into atoms. I think there are things that can be reverse engineered, but I think there's a lot that can't. And I think we do a disservice to people when we say things like, yeah, just reverse engineer it. You know, if you looked at something Larry Marine designed, would you know how he got there? Would you know how to break it down into pieces? So again, we have to, oh good, Larry Marine is here. Sadly, many designs are so superficial that it's easy to reverse engineer them. A truly good UX design hides some of the secret sauce that makes it a good design. It can't be reverse engineered. Yeah, so again, we can always reverse engineer it from the perspective of, oh look, they put a button here, and over here they put a drop list. But we're still not going to understand decisions, and we might not understand some of the things that Larry teaches us, like knowledge design, which we talked about in a separate video. See the knowledge design show for more. Go to YouTube and look at Delta CX knowledge design. It'll come right up. Yeah, Ralitza's totally right. She says, even if you reverse engineer it, it'll be based on assumptions, not facts. You're assuming what someone did to get to the design they ended up on. Very, very true. Thank you for the people who joined in on that one. Excellent points. All right, so I'm going to move on. So Hannah, who I don't know at all, says, I've been writing every day for just over 10 days now, and here are the top 3 things I've learned from 10 days of work. Okay, interesting. My LinkedIn is more chaotic than Terminal 5 at Heathrow. I have 0 content strategy. I'm not sure why those are 1 bullet. Those seem like 2 bullets to me. I'd forgotten why I joined the platform in the first place, to learn and socialize with like-minded people. Okay. So she seems to be answering her own questions, and I'm a little bit lost that she seems to be some sort of writer, but she doesn't put periods at the end of her sentence. You know, usually I don't pick on people that precisely, but if you're doing writing, yikes. Ruth Ann says, that then leads to UX theater, assuming what the user wants. Yeah, Ruth Ann, it could be UX theater pretending you know what the designer was thinking. My posts aren't enjoyable. I'm unfortunately likely to agree. It feels forced. Yes, I think I can agree with that too. Crammed with content. I don't know. And lacking my personality. I don't know. I can't tell what your personality is. Madalena, she just remembered why she joined LinkedIn. Yes, and she wants all of us to know. I'm not too sure why. Again, meaningful, actionable, helpful. What am I supposed to do with any of this? What's my plan on rectifying this? No offense to her, but this implies that she has an audience who cares. You know, and that is the trap we all fall into on social media. I assume that someone cares about what I'm saying right now. So I show up and I do a show and I assume someone cares and wants to hear it. I could be wrong. I post something on LinkedIn because I think what I say might be interesting or helpful to someone else. I could be wrong. It could just be ego. So evidently she imagines that she has an audience who believes that her posts are not enjoyable and forced and lacking her personality, but she wants you to know she's going to rectify this. As a user researcher, I should be able to nail this part. Whoa, you're a user researcher, I missed that part. You appear to be a user researcher. Okay. So this part falls apart for me a little bit. Why would being a user researcher make you better at writing posts on social media? There are many talents and skills involved in user research, but I'm not sure that social media style posts have anything to do with being a user researcher, so I'm not too sure. Create a content strategy. Sure. But that's like saying, you know, get people fresh water. You know, like that's not a plan. That's just a thing. Creating my own style, experimenting within constraints I set. Focus on sharing knowledge. This is why I joined in the first place. Yes, a selfie and dopamine hits are great, but I much prefer on message from someone when they tell me they actually learned something. Yeah, I'm with you, Dollar. I was totally surprised when she said she was a user researcher. I absolutely would have gone with digital marketer. Larry says, why not learn to code? Ralitza says, I think the no dots movement is cause of PowerPoint slides where it's acceptable. Oh, strange. I always thought that if you were doing a bulleted list, you either have to end them in a period, a comma, or a semicolon, and that you wouldn't just end them in nothing. But that's just me. Splitting my posts down. Again, this is a post about posting, and I have to admit I don't get those. And we see them every day, and I still don't get those. A post about posting. Can you imagine me posting to LinkedIn saying, I was thinking about posting to LinkedIn, but I'm worried I don't have a good content strategy. So you know what? I think I'm going to create a good content strategy and split my posts down. No offense, but who cares? Even for me, it's not like who cares for you, but I'm amazing. Who cares for anybody? If Larry posted that, I would contact him behind the scenes and I'd be like, you okay? Yeah, Madalena says, I don't understand the point of this. I don't understand who sent me this. What did they think I was going to say? Larry says, ending a sentence in a period is so 20 teens. Yeah, I'm going to do it anyway. All right, so let's move on to another one. And let's see, here's my YouTube screen. But we had this, not this, critical thinking streams. Here we go. Someone sent in this. They said, hi, Debbie. I'm interested in what you think about goals and measure parts of this article. It starts okay with vision, but then it gets confusing and messy. For example, it says for the vision, deliver a caring and convenient digital healthcare experience for patients and providers. These goals and key metrics might be relevant. Please check the table. But when I go through the goals, all of them sound the same. I feel like it's the same idea using different words. They don't feel tangible. How do we know they align with big picture company OKRs? All right, so that was the question. This is the article. It's an NNG article on UX strategy. And the person is saying, check the table around goals. So here we go. Here's goals. Goals and measures. Once you know where you're going and why, you need a way to measure progress. Goals along with metrics and KPIs should directly connect UX improvements with business goals. It's important for UX to understand how an organization makes and spends money and what it cares about. Otherwise, your UX goals and metrics will seem irrelevant and disconnected from business priorities. With knowledge of how the business works, UX will be unable, without knowledge of how the business works, UX will be unable to find opportunities that impact the current business model, let alone imagine new ones. Strategic goals and measures establish and communicate why the business will succeed in becoming user-centered, actions with the highest business impact, prioritization, trade-off, and deferral decisions. Goals are set by leadership, blah, blah, blah. Example, deliver a caring and convenient digital healthcare experience for patients and providers. Okay, so that's a very high-level goal. It sounds solution agnostic. It's certainly not about any particular solution or features. It just says whatever the heck we make, it better be caring, whatever that is, and it better be convenient. Madalena says, Monday micro lesson alert. Oh, what should I do as a Monday micro lesson? What do you mean? Example goals. Increase healthcare access and convenience. The business wants to grow and maintain patient and provider populations. These feel a little unrelated to me. They might both be, obviously we have a user goal of making this more convenient. And the business has a goal of having more patients. But I don't think these two are related. I'm not sure we could group them together. The goals lesson you streamed on Monday. Oh, yeah. That's right. Thank you. I forgot already. What a long week it's been. Thank you, Madalena. As always, archivist aficionado. So yeah, you can go to the Delta CX YouTube channel. Check out the micro lessons playlist. I did a show on Monday about business goals. Yes, thanks to Madalena. Yeah, so I see what this person is saying. The goals feel a little funky because while these goals are probably both true, I don't think they can be grouped together. I think that the user, the business would like to see a certain percentage increase in new patients. It could even be a small percentage because we're being conservative, 5%. A 30% increase in telehealth usage. That's unrelated to the business goal, and that's unrelated to the user goal because it's, Larry, say it with me, it implies a certain solution. Sarita says, has anyone seen the new Tom Griever post about job posts? No, I tend to ignore Tom Griever. Do you want me to look for that one next? So it implies that to increase healthcare convenience and to grow our customer pool population, they need to use telehealth more. I think that's too much of jumping to a conclusion, and that's too much of one particular solution. What if we find that convenience for users means something else? Maybe they don't like telehealth. Maybe they want something else. So increase in telehealth usage sounds like something the business wants to see happen, but it's prescribing a solution, and I'm advising people to fight against metrics that push a certain solution. I see this a lot at companies, especially when they've recently bought a company or technology. Maybe this company just bought a telehealth company. Now they've got a goal of more telehealth usage. How do we make our customers use telehealth more? We just bought this telehealth company. We've got to make it look like it's worth it. Remember, this is tail wagging the dog. We have to be fighting, even if the business says these are their KPIs and their goals, we should really be fighting that and speaking up. Retention, flat for providers and patients. Is that really true? Would the business want to see flat retention, or would we want to see increased retention? Why would we want to see our numbers stay flat and not be lifted even a little bit? 3% better retention than last year. So this seems a little bit strange. Next one, provide superior support to patients and providers. And business says reduce the need for and volume of support. So typically, if you want to reduce the need for and volume of support, while I can't name a particular solution, sorry, I have a bug flying around me, you typically want to increase and improve self-service. People will need support less when they can self-service more, but yet they're saying decrease wait times. Well, hold on. We're not trying to, this doesn't make sense. And it's funny because I interviewed a call center person for the book I'm writing now, and she said that sometimes they study customers and they find that there isn't a big difference between being on hold for 1 minute and being on hold for 2 minutes. That's not the big deal. The big deal is being on hold 2 minutes versus 20. But would there really be a huge satisfaction difference between a 1 minute hold and a 2 minute hold? Is that the wait time you're trying to cut in half? Or is your hold time wild? 40-minute hold time, we need to get it down to 20. Okay, but is that superior support? That's faster answering of a call, but that doesn't mean they've received superior support. Larry says usage versus applicability, increasing the inclusive of this solution as part of their pattern of life. These examples seem to have been pulled out of thin air for this article. Yeah, this article seems a little embarrassing. Does it say who wrote this? Anna and Sarah. I usually like them. Yeah, these are tough because I think that these the things that are grouped together don't go together. And then the example key results are not great example key results. Madalena says, could it be that the wait time refers to being referred to a specialist, not just call wait times? My guess is that they're talking about call center because my clue is support inquiries and volume of support inquiries. So that is usually going to be call center, customer support tickets, customer support chats, customer support emails. It's going to be all of your customer support call center stuff when I see words like volume of support inquiries. So I don't think that this is specialist referrals. Benedicta says seamless self-service equals less support SLAs, and escalations will help with the hold time. Yes, agree. Exactly. So obviously, the more we can self-service, the less we're going to need the support to tax support, which means volume of support and the need for support. If we're looking to reduce even people needing support, decreasing their hold time doesn't change that. They still need support. We did not achieve this goal by measuring this KPI. I have a whole chapter on this in the book I'm working on, and if you've taken my workshop, you know we've talked a bit about metrics. I'm building it out a lot more for the book. These just don't match. You know, could these be KPIs? Decrease wait times by 60%? They could, but that's not a good KPI for what's on the other side of the screen. And that's where my brain is frying a little bit, and maybe the person who sent it in as well. Reduce the stress and uncertainty in managing health. Improve patient and employee satisfaction. Again, not sure those two necessarily go together. 85% share of positive feedback from patients and providers. Again, that seems to be improving satisfaction if we can measure it with some sort of satisfaction survey, but does that reduce people's stress? If they give us a decent satisfaction score, did we reduce stress? Did we reduce uncertainty about health? Now we're talking about trust. Building and growing trust is a very different animal than did we run a satisfaction survey and get some good scores. AJ says, thank you for the awesome content, Debbie. Thank you, AJ. I do believe it's very important for UX teams to have a solid understanding of big picture KPIs of the business. Totally agree. I am not saying that we don't need that. I'm talking about that more and more, and I completely agree. AJ says, however, I believe it's on the UX leader to break these down into tangible goals for the UX team. For a broad example, understanding how reducing frustration equates to gain in revenue. It helps when establishing what the North Star should be for the UX crew when working on enhancements of new products. Yeah, exactly. I've been talking about the North Star metrics and things like that in my new material, which isn't on the channel yet. It's been in my new workshop, and I'm writing it into my book. I'm sure it'll eventually make its way to the channel. Larry says, I get the sense that these are a reflection of what data they already have rather than identifying what KPIs and data they truly need. Totally agree. Because again, there's nothing wrong with having a goal of we want to see customer satisfaction scores go up because we want to know that people are happier with us. But how can we reduce people's stress and uncertainty in managing health? And what is the KPI or any metric that's going to tell us we're accomplishing that? That's where these have to match up. We have to match these up. So if we're saying we have a user goal in making healthcare less stressful, how do we measure that? What can we see from people that tells us they're less stressful? Is there a leading indicator? Is there an early action people take that tell us they are experiencing less stress? I don't know what that is, but through our generative research, we would have to figure out what that is. Madalena says, I don't know, these user goals sound like visions in themselves. Hadn't thought of that. Yeah, I think either way, I don't think usually a vision is a statement about the future that hypothetically you may or may not attain because it is always future minded. These I think could be somewhat attainable, but then I think you're saying you might still be trying to make it even better. You know, we wouldn't say, hey, look, our satisfaction scores went from an 80 to an 83. We're done. Stop trying to make satisfaction be any higher. We're done. I think in that sense, it's a little bit like the vision in that you're constantly striving for something better and you're always on the journey and you're never at the destination. So yeah, I do think that with critical thinking, this article does fall apart a little bit. I think the left side are some interesting goals. I don't think they go together in these pairs. I think the right side make interesting KPIs, or if they're saying key results, they could be OKRs. But I feel like the two kind of don't go together, and I'm worried that some of these key results are the tail wagging the dog and stuff like that. Yeah. Sariti says Tom Griever's new post. Tom Griever, LinkedIn. Well, I'm just getting his profile, but I'm not getting his post. Is it? Oh, this job post is terrible. Okay. Okay, hold on. Let me just go to a giant picture of me, and let me see if I can copy and paste it from my regular browser. Let's see. Sorry, everybody. We're going to do one on the fly for Sarita. Okay, I think I have it. Let's see. I messed that up. Okay, it's this one. Copy, copy. And this one. Paste. All right. This job post is terrible, right? Actually, I don't think so. Okay, so let's see. What job post is he talking about? Graphic designer, UX UI designer, video editor. IT skills, yikes. Design and photo editing software. Canva, Adobe Creative Suite, which includes Photoshop, front-end dev, high-quality graphic designs, mock-ups, and layouts, social media posts. Oh my God, now you're a writer too. Cover pictures, infographics, logos, and icons. Yeah, so I would say this is a terrible job, but let's see what Tom says. And Madalena says, saying that because the first thing I thought when I read Reduce Stress in Managing Health was, what does that look like? Yeah, exactly. How do you measure that? Okay, why doesn't Tom think this is a terrible job post? Larry Marine says, unicorn. I'm not a proponent of shaming companies for posting job descriptions that combine UX with UI or ask for people with lots of digital skills like web design, video editing, photography, or coding. In fact, I can do all those things. Congratulations. I've held jobs where I did all those things. Where is he going with this? Sarita, are you still here? It's not that organizations are looking to rip off employees or burn them out. Disagree. In many cases, they need all those things, but don't have a need for full-time people. They have to start somewhere, and I don't think it's unreasonable for them to ask for their ideal candidate who has a variety of skills. Yeah, Larry says, but can he do it all well? Yes. Whew. No, he says my code was terrible, but it was all they needed. What? Those jobs were satisfying. I got to spend one day coding from scratch. Next, I could go on location to shoot a video, interview interesting people. Yeah, how did you keep track of your priorities? How did you get your jobs done well if you were doing something different every day? I think you have a very rose-colored memory of something that was probably fairly stressful. I don't think we should shame organizations because they have a wide variety of needs and are looking for a generalist who can help them. Larry says, gee, I wonder why you don't follow him. Yeah, I know. I tend to ignore his posts when I see them. So here's the thing. Let's imagine that what Tom says is true. So critical thinking time. Let's imagine that what Tom says is true and that they're trying to combine these multiple jobs into one job because these aren't 4 full-time jobs. You're not editing video, 40 hours a week. You're not a graphic designer, 40 hours a week. You're not a UX designer, 40 hours a week. So, hey, why don't we just mix these things up by how much time? Now, first of all, one thing that he doesn't mention is, did he ever feel like he didn't get to spend enough time on something he was doing because he had to jump to the next thing? So we have questions about project scope and project planning. And of course, Larry raises the question on the quality of the work. If he only spent one day on a thing. Exactly. Madalena reads my mind yet again. Why not open up 4 part-time jobs for people who are really great at each? We have a part-time job for a video editor. We think we only need you 15 hours a week. We're flexible. You can do this nights and weekends. Or we have really tough deadlines. We need you 3 hours a day, 5 days a week. Hey, we need a graphic designer. You'll probably do some UI design too. We think we need you 20 hours a week, and here's how that breaks up, or make it yourself. Totally agree. There's nothing that says we can't hire part-time jobs or freelancers or an outside agency and just say, hey, look, we only need this person X hours a week. Right, Madalena says, and you're the quiz master on Friday evenings. Larry says, I'm waiting for a job posting for them for an accountant, developer, janitor position. Yeah. My biological father used to say something when I was a kid, and I was too little to understand this, but that was his style. And he used to have this running joke about companies that had expanded their offerings and grown to such an extent that they were now a company offering so many unrelated things, but then they would try to rebrand themselves to see if they could capture all of these things. And his fake brand name, of course, was Smiley. And the idea he came up with was Smiley's Car Wash and Management Consulting Service. And that kind of bounces around my head whenever I see this kind of thing, is whenever I see a lot of these unrelated skills glued together, I have to tell you, Smiley's Car Wash and Management Consulting Service bounces around my head, even though it means something only to me. Maybe now to you too. I think he probably also got it from people of a certain age. Sorry, there's a bug flying around my head. People of a certain age will remember a Saturday Night Live sketch, I think from the 70s, where it was supposed to be a fake commercial, and it was like, maybe Larry knows this one. It's a floor wax. No, it's a dessert topping. No, it's a floor wax. No, it's a dessert topping. Wait a minute, it's both. It's a floor wax and it's a dessert topping. I guess that runs in my head a little bit too. So here he is admitting that he did terrible code, but he's sure it was good enough. I'm not sure it was good enough, and I think that's unfortunate. So ultimately I would say, while we don't necessarily have to shame these companies, and you certainly don't have to, it's 2 treats in one. Melanie knows it. It's Shimmer. Ooh, people of a certain age. Slap me 5. So yes. So remember, quality of work is important. When people are combining jobs like this, I absolutely do believe it is to rip you off. Now, do they hope to burn you out? No, they don't set out hoping to burn you out. They hope you'll last forever and cost nothing. They hope they can get 4 specialized workers for the price of probably half of one. But, Madalena, I was constantly challenged. I bet. Yes. Yes. And also it sounds like he's talking about a time very long ago when many people maybe didn't understand these jobs. They thought his coding was good enough when he thinks it's terrible. His code was terrible and they thought it was good. Low standards. Our standards have gone way up in the last 10, 15, whatever it is years. We'd have to go back and look at his thing to see when he's talking about, but yeah, so ultimately, I do believe that these jobs, I think it's totally fine if you want to make fun of them. And you can take this job, but it's going to be what I call a moving target, which is, hey, did you get the video editing done? No, I was doing the UX design. Well, get the video editing done. Hey, do you have those graphics ready? No, I'm doing the video editing. Well, get the graphics done. Hey, do you have the social media posts ready? No, I was doing the graphics. Well, get the social media posts ready. Larry says, I bet it pays $15 an hour. I get the impression he sets low standards and fails to achieve them. Ouch. Ouch. That's a real burn. I don't know if any of you are fans like I am of PDQ Bach, which is comedy classical music. But there's a piece where the guy who pretends that he discovers these old pieces of classical music, though he actually writes them, says, you know, I always hope that every new piece of PDQ Bach music that I find will be exciting and challenging, but every new piece I find lives up to the same low standards. Iton says, hello, sorry I'm late. I'm cat sitting. The cat is analyzing me harshly. Yes, that's cats. So we are more than done because we added a bonus for Sarita, but hopefully Sarita had a good time and we covered the things that Sarita hoped that we covered. So let's talk a little bit about next week. I think at the rate we're going, I'm probably going to cancel Monday's Think Out Loud because I don't have anything to work on because y'all haven't sent anything. Please do send something in via deltacx.com/links. And also, please do subscribe. We just passed, we're well on our way to 6,000 already. So please tell friends about what we're doing here and tell people to subscribe. Tuesday is office hours with special guest Tom Kerwin. Pretty much for Ralica. He's coming back on Tuesday, so look out for him. He'll be answering your questions. On Wednesday, Michelle Ronson will be here. She's going to talk about UX researcher job interview questions. Yum, yum. Thursday the 8th, I'm going to be reading, we're doing an extra show next week. I'm going to be reading my new article, Is UX a Skill? Because you hear that sometimes from agile developers. Solomon says, you are such a gem to the discipline. Thank you. You're the second person to call me a gem today. That's so interesting. Ralisa says, just for me? Well, you're the person who recommended I get him on the show, so kinda. And then Friday, critical thinking. And then don't forget, next Saturday and Sunday, a week from tomorrow, is my Transforming Toward Customer Centricity weekend workshop for people who didn't want to take weekdays off of work. It's 2 half days, 4.5 hours each day, so you can still have a life. You can check that out by going to deltacx.com, training, Transforming Toward Customer Centricity. And sign up. We still have seats available. I think 3 people will be there, so it's going to be very intimate. All right. Any other thoughts or questions before I wrap this puppy up? Delicious dinner shake. Y'all, tomorrow I have to go to a wedding I don't want to go to. I hope you don't feel that way about my wedding. If you feel that way about my wedding, please don't come. Yeah. Yeah, have a great evening and weekend. Thank you, Abhishek. Thank you, Abhishek. Oh, I should put the things back up on the screen. Abhishek says, you are amazing. Thank you. And now Abhishek is messaging me. So thanks everybody. Always fun to hang out here. Hey, Chukudi, how are you doing? God, I have this bug flying around my desk. We had some fruit get a little overripe and now they're everywhere. Oh, Abhishek says, I have a question. Well, hurry up. I was about to end the show. And murder fruit flies. Well, we'll wait for that question, and then we'll wrap up the show. Of course, y'all can leave if you want to, but I'm curious as to what this question will be. Man, I am sleepy, y'all. Do you follow my dogs on Instagram? Did y'all see that they've escaped like 5 times in the last week? They ran into the house at 2:30 in the morning last night. It's a long story. I think I slept 2 hours. Great you could remember. Yes, I know I'm probably not pronouncing your name well, but I will still try anyway. Well, okay. I think Abhishek maybe is private messaging me the question. Yeah. Madalena says, what do you need for the Think Out Loud segment? Fake research? Yeah, so usually Think Out Loud is a fake project. It's something people want to see how I would plan the research for, even though we're not doing the research. And then sometimes I design something. So it could be fake research plan, some design, or both. Or some people have just sent me websites they wanted me to walk through and assess and analyze and poop on, as Triumph the Insult Comic Dog would say. So yeah, send something over. Send it over. All right. Yeah. So deltacx.com/links, and don't forget to also subscribe. And I will see y'all maybe Monday, maybe not. We'll see what we've got lined up. Otherwise, definitely Tuesday, office hours, Ask Me Anything with special guest Tom Kerwin. Hey, everybody, have a great rest of your day or night, and I'll see you soon. Bye. Customer centricity as business intelligence. Visit deltacx.com to learn why we are